Hello, what's up? This is a Stereo 7. In this video I'm going to share some music production tips while recreating the beat for Zara Larsson's song On My Love. In this remix I will use Maestro synthesizer, Formata synthesizer, Wavetable standard synthesizer, as a piano tech piano. Addictive drums too will be used as a drum machine. And we will use Serum to synthesize the bass. Today's remix will be not quite ordinary. We will try to combine elements of retrowave and synthwave genre with elements of EDM, that is electronic dance music. First of all, we need to cut the acapella from the original track. For this purpose we will use the Izotope RX program. So, in Izotope RX program we can find music rebalance function. After we click on this function, we have a control panel like this. It's divided into 4 parts here. Vocals, those frequencies that are responsible for the vocal part of the track. Bass, low frequencies. Percussion, i.e. treble, and other, i.e. various other artifacts that may be encountered in a song. We need to leave only the vocals in the song, so we leave 0 decibels here. And we'll remove everything else and try to render it. After render, our track was transformed this way. And let's hear what came out of it.
Now I don't need the time to make up my mind. That's all my love.
So we got exactly what we wanted. Separately Acapella without the arrangement. Now press Ctrl A, export the track, and open the Ableton Live program to start writing our remix. So, added our acapella, here it is playing.
Now I don't need the time to make up my mind.
The BPM fits, so we can start writing the remix. Leaving one MIDI track, the key combination is Ctrl-Shift-M. Create a MIDI clip, and add the Kontakt plugin to this track to take advantage of the Maestro library. To write the main melody, we select, for example, just piano, for now. Let's make it brighter, and start scribbling the basic notes. The main melody of this track, which makes it recognizable and hit, consists of 2 parts. In the lower register we spell out the main root notes, and in the upper register goes the melody itself. I mean, somehow it looks more detailed. It all starts with an A sharp. We write note by note, but we just do it in this rhythmic way. After which the next root note will be C sharp. You can just copy it, and use the arrow to move it to C sharp. Then F sharp, R sharp, and the last 3 notes of G sharp. This is the kind of rhythmic pattern that plays throughout the track. Now we can Ctrl A to highlight all those notes to copy them an octave lower to make it sound much more powerful. Let's leave this rhythmic pattern like this, duplicate our Kontakt together with the Maestro library and choose some interesting instrument to spell out the main melody and make the song already more recognizable. On the second track, let's pick some brightly colored instrument. Exactly the same rhythmic pattern is prescribed for the melody. Next is R sharp. After that, we have the same order of melody only from the R sharp to the F note. Next, the A sharp and the C note are played. Next, we prescribe G sharp and A sharp. And for the last beat, it continues in G sharp or A sharp. Only on the last bar it is played not in A sharp, but in G sharp together with C. And so the recognizability of our melody has already appeared, but it still doesn't sound very good, so I suggest to better pick up the instruments to make somehow more beautiful. Let's try U-bass on a tune. It sounds more interesting that way. We can also expand, make the rhythmic a little to the left and the melody to the right. Let's clean up the project a bit. Let's rename the first track Harmony Rhythm. The second track is just Melody. So we already have an outline ready to play the whole track. Essentially, if we duplicate, we can hear how the melody fits with the voice.
Into the dark, into the light, baby, I go. Whether it's wrong, whether it's right, I will follow.
Let's now do a little bit of processing on our instruments to make it sound better. First, let's work with the rhythmic pattern and our root notes here. They sound pretty flat. To change that, we can make it so. I think it's important to add some sort of rhythm plugin, like Echoboy, in order for us to have a delay on these notes, so that they sound not so head-on, not so flat. It's important not to mess up and spoil the basic rhythm, which should be preserved. In the Echoboy plugin, we have just a few important knobs. This feedback is how long the effect lasts after the sound has ended. That is, we'll set the feedback to maximum and play the sound. It will go almost to infinity and play constantly. If you overdo it, you can get a pretty messy mix. So we don't make it very big so it will fade sooner or later. And mix is the total amount of effect on the track. It doesn't have to be huge either. If we talk about the melody, we'll do some processing here too. Cut off the excess top. Add more space with Valhalla Vintage Verb. Since we're writing a synth wave, there's quite a bit of space to add. Sounds more interesting already. Next, I suggest adding another synthesizer, but this time let's add a Formanta synthesizer. With it we will try to accent the melody. Press also Ctrl-Shift-M. Add a MIDI clip and add the Formanta library for the Kontakt plugin. There are different instruments here, such as the El Piano. Let's choose just piano, for now, for the sake of experimentation, for the sake of example, and copy the main melody. But in the main melody we will not leave all notes, but only some basic notes. Let's choose some more atmospheric sound to make the accents brighter. More chorus. There's something we can do to diversify this tune. This additional melody was produced with the help of a Formata synthesizer. And now we can process it in some interesting way to give it more atmosphere, space, mood. Pretty dreamy it turned out, and that's a good thing because retrowave is a dreamy nostalgic genre. Too much top, I think, with this synthesizer, so that's how I spin the mouse wheel in the FabFilter Pro Q3. We can change the wave of the cut. If we cut smoothly, it gets more of that analog vintage cut. Our synthesizer will have a little bit of top end in this way, because if you do that, it sounds very harsh, unpleasant. In order for this emotion and this synthesizer to reveal even more, we must still spatialize it, make it broader and more atmospheric. Let's add Effect Rack, a plugin that includes different functions, delay and reverb. And here we'll pick up some spatial effect. This giant metal one sounds pretty good. It includes a delay, a crystallizer and an expander that creates a chorus for the sound, duplicates its voices and kind of expands it. Without the plugin, it sounds like this. With the plugin, it's like this. Let's also add an AutoPan plugin on the tune that will automatically create a panorama for this tune. It will run from the right ear to the left ear. Also the basic root notes. This rhythmic pattern I think we can also duplicate and do it with a regular sine wave. So what I mean is, we duplicate this track. We leave only one note on each track. Here we have the root notes. We leave them in the same rhythm, but instead of a Maestro instrument, we add a wavetable here. This is a standard Ableton Live plugin. What does this tool consist of? It consists of wave and EQ control. Also here you can adjust attack, release, decay, sustaining and so on. This is the kind of wave itself. When the wave is very soft, it produces a very sub sound. The sharper the wave, the more cutting the sound becomes. I propose to leave this wave like this and leave these notes of a small sub to emphasize our rhythm. I also suggest duplicating the main melody. So far it's just played by the Maestro synthesizer, but I suggest adding a piano, which will duplicate the melody, thus adding brightness. Select the second track and remove the Kontakt from it. Add piano tech. Let's hear what it sounds like now. I suggest making the notes a little longer. Next we see the parameter randomize. That is a function that can make the velocity randomized. Velocity equals the force with which you press a piano key. The piano can be pressed with different force, and depending on the pressure, the sound becomes brighter, warmer, or quieter. Here we choose how differently the keys will be pressed and click randomize. And we can see that this is how they line up. I think it's a pretty big difference, so I'm going to set the randomize parameter lower. And that's how I like it better. If we pull up we play louder. Down we play gently softer. Let's leave it at about this volume and also trim the piano a bit. Remove the middle so it doesn't stick out. And add a bigger reverb as well. In Maestro, you can make the main melody have a slightly smaller release, so it wouldn't be too messy either. And so everything together already gives this track such hit recognizability. There's a little more work left to do on our tune that plays below. This is the kind of interesting effect I suggest you apply phase jet to. That is, a rather interesting complex filter is used here. But it just about adds to the cyberpunk feel, which in synthwave is a very good thing. Let's add addictive drums too to add a drum machine. We choose real machines here. You can have one of these, red, white. Depends on which preset fits. To start, let's put the first one we get and spell out a straight dram. Barrel and snare, repeating one after another. It's a pretty deafening barrel here, so let's change it right away. And the hats are straight, too. Without a bass, it's hard to tell if the drum machine is a good fit for us, so I suggest adding serum and picking some bass. You can tweak it yourself, or you can choose from ready-made presets. Now this is one of my favorite basses, let's give it a try. We can basically copy the pattern of the basic rhythmic pattern, in order to just have notes to play. If we leave it like that, it's pretty danceable, not much of a synth wave. As for the rhythm, here too we can make a straight rhythm like the drums. You can try to make the rhythm even faster. Only then we need to be sure to add a shaper box, in order for it to squeeze dynamically our bass, sidechain, and here 1/4. That's how we make each bass note play more often. For the melody, I picked up a slightly different effect, ramp down 16. It's more simple, it just gives a little bit of rhythm to our melody. Together with the bass it works well together. Let's look for some more presets in addictive drums, maybe some will fit better. It's got a pretty interesting snare. Let's have some interesting breakdowns in the drum part. We'll add crashes and hats. Here when the acapella comes in, you can diversify the bass and make it not so pulsating, that we have in the chorus. And to make the so-called rise bass to make this more popping vocal.
Now I don't need the time to make up my mind.
Backed by the same popping bass.
That's all my love.
Let's add for example 10 votes. That is, this wave will be played here at once, only detune will be smaller. Detune is the parameter responsible for how tuned each of the individual voices is. The more detune, the more we hear dissonance and the wider the sound becomes. So it's important to keep a balance here, so that the sound doesn't get too dissonant and still have some breadth. Let's add a filter. Also, by going to the FX tab, we can add a compressor. Here, turn on the multi-bend function to compress the high frequencies more. Copy the same notes that play bass pulsing. Only now they will play more smoothly. Extend each one and drop an octave down. So, I propose to make some changes on the structure. Let's move our track back a little bit. And let's just have a piano playing initially. I want this intro to pop out a bit, so I'll add an auto filter to the master channel. Here with the help of automation. Right-click, show automatization, do a little frequency pop out. I find the mix in this playthrough a bit lackluster, so I suggest adding a Moog plugin. Moog EQ4, this is the kind of parametric equalizer that allows you to add treble, mid-range, bass in a fairly analog way. We need to raise the highs a little bit. Can also medium a bit for readability. You can also add a Fab Filter Pro L to the master channel. To control the volume, this is a limiter that will trim anything louder than 0 to Zebel. There's not even enough volume here, so we'll add some. Parameter gain plus 8 decibels. Next, I suggest processing the vocals to make them fit better into the mix.
Now I don't need the time to make up my mind.
I think there's a lot of that phone noise.
Now I don't need the time to make up my mind. That's all my love. Hey, can you hear my prayer? Take my breath, can you take me there?
I also suggest adding a compressor on the voice, because after we cut the acapella from the original track, some phrases were also trimmed and may not be fully audible, so we need to compress the vocals. Here in the vocals section, there's a great total control preset.
Into the dark, into the light, baby, I go. Whether it's wrong, whether it's right, I will follow. I'll pay the price, I'll sacrifice. That's all my love.
After that, you can add some more spatial processing to make the voice sound more atmospheric. Let's add, for example, the Valhalla room. It's the same reverb. There are some good presets here, you can search. The space were more suited to the track. Use Cramit to compress the high frequencies so that they don't come out too much. We can speed up the last beat to make it more varied. For example, add kicks and change the rhythm a bit. We can get away with it all together, like some drum and bass, speed up the hi-hats here. And the bass here is not pulsating, but similar to the rise bass that we put here. Just to make it sharper, duplicate it, move it to the end of the track, go into the serum settings. We have removed the filter of these high frequencies, thus making the bass more powerful. You could also add from different sample packs, some percussion for the background in the final drop. For example, I think this one goes well. Just be sure to cut off the lows so they don't interfere with the main part. And such is the ending of the sliced drums. The ending we got was more so EDM, I would say more towards electronic dance music. That's not a bad thing either, because the mix of genres, it always adds interest to any track. If it can be done organically, it only goes to the plus side. Towards the end, when we have our EDM part coming in, I decided to add some vocals in here, chop it up in some interesting ways to get a more varied drop. I also suggest adding the same vocals to the beginning to make the intro more fun. There we have only the piano coming in and it can look pretty boring. We'll also add a throbbing bass line at the beginning to make it clear that this is our synthwave starting. At the beginning, when only the voice enters, I suggest starting without the main melody, that is, without the piano. Leave only the Formanta synthesizer and that main bass that steals. I think the two of them together sound pretty good already.
Now I don't need the time to make up my mind. That's all my love. That's all my love.
So, using elements of the retrowave genre, and adding variety to the drumming at the end by chopping it up a bit, acapella to EDM, we got the remix.